Hey, this is James. I'm sitting here in my hotel room at the Addis Ababa Hilton, and I'm recording the first video component of my trip report 2.0 experiment. And I use the term experiment very loosely here. I don't really have any specific outcomes in mind or results, other than the fact that I'm wondering just how effective this might be. This sort of approach, use a multimedia kind of social media approach, might be for capturing folks' reports from the field, from their various trips. Anyway, so as I said, I'm here at the Hilton Addis Ababa, kicking off my Trip Report 2.0 video component here. And over dinner I was thinking to myself, what do I really want to do here? What do I really want to say? What is it that I'm wanting to share? Initially I was thinking, well, it'd be just like a trip report with all this sorts of information, details about who I met with and when and who was, and what was discussed, and et cetera, et cetera. But that's really boring. And in fact, that's why trip reports are so boring anyway, because they don't really say anything. There's this long, detailed list of all of these things that, in the end, I guess someone might want to know that information, but how useful is that really? I think what's really most useful is when you get some sort of reflection or lessons learned or recommendations or whatever. So I think what I'm going to focus on here is maybe sharing just some ideas, some lessons learned, some thoughts, blah, 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 that I've had while I'm here. Of course, I need to be very careful about proprietary information, and I know folks at Chicago will be happy to know that I'm not about to give away trade secrets or anything here, but I definitely do want to share some of my experiences and as I said, some of the thoughts that I've had. So during dinner I was kind of going over what were some of the things about today that I wanted to share that might be useful for folks in the future. The first one is, most importantly, and I tweeted this earlier as well, but if you've just traveled 20 hours, you've gone like practically halfway around the world or whatever, across 8 time zones, and you arrive at 10 o'clock at night on a Tuesday, you probably don't want to have it scheduled so that you go right in and start work the very next day at 9 o'clock in the morning, because you're gonna be jet lagged, no matter how much you hope you won't be. Anyway, so don't do that, FYI, and I should keep that in mind in the future. I'm feeling it now. Actually, I think I'm a little overtired, and I'm drinking this Yorgis here, or St. George's beer. It's Ethiopian. Anyway, hoping that will maybe sort of calm me down or something, help me fall asleep. Anyway, number one. Okay, number two. Let's see. Oh yeah, plans will change, right? So we drafted a scope of work like a month ago, maybe even 2 months ago now, and I thought it was all agreed upon. I show up today, and it wasn't completely changed or anything, but things have been added, and that's what I find always happens. This sort of scope always expands. Honestly, it was kind of an unrealistic expectation for my 2 weeks here. Even though it had me working on the weekends, there was still no way that was going to happen. So I met with a few folks, and we kind of talked about things, what it was that we were really trying to accomplish while I was here, and essentially went back to the original scope of work. The other thing too is, so not only scopes will change, but schedules for things will change. So while we actually went back pretty much to the original schedule that I had proposed, part of that involved a bunch of us traveling to Jimma University next week for the last 3 days, leaving here on Tuesday and then being there Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, coming back Friday. Well, we went to go make reservations today, and for some unknown reason, Ethiopian Airways has decided that they're just canceling all flights on Monday and Tuesday. So there's no way we're going to be able to travel on Tuesday. So we will be trying to get tickets on Wednesday, and we'll be coming back hopefully on Saturday. So we'll see where that goes. But anyway, the lesson learned there is be flexible, and you're going to have to be reactive to what the reality is sort of on the ground, as it were. Things will happen, things will have to change, plans will have to change. Certain things will get done, other things might not. It's just the way that these things work. I have another note here too about coordination and how it's important. We're here working on a number of different pre-service strengthening. Well, it's one large pre-service strengthening project, but it has multiple components, and so we were talking today about sort of coordinating this educational development center sort of work with our e-learning work. It just seems to make sense. So, for example, there is this, a lot of work has been done on assessment and improving people's assessment capacity. Well, in the e-learning project, there's a lot of assessment that happens there. So, presumably, the knowledge and the skills, the competencies that have been developed through that assessment workshop, assessment training, will be used to help develop assessments for the e-learning component. Likewise, there is this plan to implement item banking. Item banking in terms of sort of software, but also just in terms of processes, working together to develop assessment items, to do analysis of assessment items, to update them, etc. But once again, that's going to inform the assessments that then get developed for the e-learning component. So even if it's not the same people working on all these different pieces, they should at least be talking to each other. And that if some of these activities are taking place under the sort of purview of the Educational Development Committee, well, then there should be some sort of liaison there that we can work with for while we're working on the e-learning project. So, like I said, we're coordinating across there. There's something else. I just was thinking about this as I wrote it. I was thinking about, a lot of times we talk about coordination so that we don't go sort of like reinventing the wheel, as it were, or that we're collaborating so that we're not doing this. So if folks have done things before that can inform what it is that we're doing, then we learn from that. And so in this situation, reinventing the wheel is not really an issue, but this just sort of coordination made me think of it, and I started to wonder. I was thinking the other day about what exactly does it mean not to reinvent the wheel, and I think sometimes people think of that as sort of just wholesale sort of adoption of something that exists, whether that's software or process or whatever. But I think there's kind of a spectrum, from just completely reusing something that exists to learning from what has been done before and having that inform what you do in the future. And I see I'm going way over here. I'm like 8:40 at this point. Jeez, I better crank this up a bit. So anyway, that's just a thought about reinventing the wheel, and that reinventing the wheel doesn't, or not wanting to reinvent the wheel doesn't mean you necessarily have to use wholesale things that have been done or been developed before, but at the very least that you look at them, that you consider them, that you learn from them, and that informs how you move forward. And then the last bit, oh no, I got two more. I don't know if I'm going to make this here. There's a 10-minute time limit on YouTube, and so I keep talking and taking up time. Anyway,